Welcome everybody. This is part one of What's the Deal with Jesus and Prophecy? Hey, I'm glad you asked. Because I just saw an article claiming that Jesus fulfilled 300 prophecies. But I'm sitting right here telling you that, well, that's just totally false. It's not true. Well, okay, maybe it's not totally false, because Jesus fulfilled 375 prophecies. So I reckon that 300 falls within the 375. So it's not false, it's just not complete. But what difference does it make if it's 300, 375, or just 12? Well, let's look at that. There's a book out that's called Science Speaks. It's written by Peter Stoner. Now, Peter's a professor in mathematics and astronomy. And his book is about calculating odds. You know, like if you have one red chip and one black chip, the odds of you picking out the red chip is 1 in 2. Now, Stoner calculated the odds of one man fulfilling only 8 messianic prophecies during the life and the death of Jesus Christ. His calculation set the odds at 1 in 10 to the 17th power. That's a 10 with 17 zeros behind it. That's 1 in 100 quadrillion. Let's put that into something you might be able to visualize to give us a little better understanding of just how impossible that is. If you took 100 quadrillion silver dollars, you could cover the entire state of Texas 2 feet deep, and then mark a black spot on one, threw it out in the middle, blindfolded a feller and tell him to go out there find that dollar with the black mark. Well, that would be the exact same odds that Jesus overcame, fulfilling just 8 prophecies. But he didn't fulfill just 8. He fulfilled 375. Let's look at some specifics. In 2 Samuel 7:12 through 13, we read, "When your days are over and you rest with your ancestors, I will raise up your offspring to succeed you, your own flesh and blood, and I will establish his kingdom. He is the one who will build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever." Now, 1,000 years after that, we have the fulfillment, which is recorded in Matthew 1:1. This is the genealogy of Jesus, the Messiah, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Now here's another, also in Isaiah, but 7:14 this time. "Therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. The virgin will conceive and give birth to a son, and he will be called Emmanuel." Then 700 years later, well, Jesus is born in Bethlehem. Now Matthew 1:20-21, well, it tells us Joseph, son of David, "Do not be afraid to take Mary home as your wife, because what is conceived in her is from the Holy Spirit. She will give birth to a son, and you are to give him the name Jesus, because he will save his people from their sins." Now, Jesus was also called Emmanuel, because that means God dwelling with us. Now, here's a curious side note. Muslims also believe in the virgin birth of Jesus. It's recorded in their Quran. Okay, so hey, here's a good one. The Messiah will be born in Bethlehem. Now that's in Micah 5:2. "But you, Bethlehem Ephrathim, though you are small among the clans of Judah, out of you will come for me one who will be the ruler over Israel, whose origins are from old and from ancient times." Now again, that's fulfilled in Matthew 2:1-2. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose, and we have come to worship him." And now get this. "May the kings of Tarshish and of the distant shores bring tribute to him. May the king of Sheba and Seba present him gifts. May all kings bow down to him, and all nations serve him." Now that's in Psalm 72:10-11. And we find the fulfillment once again in Matthew in 2:11. "On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother, Mary, and they bowed down and worshiped him." Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now each one of those gifts, well, it had a special meaning. Well, the folks back then would know what it meant. For instance, gold was an Old Testament message about kings and royalty. When the Magi presented gold to the baby Jesus, they were proclaiming him a king. Now frankincense, well, that's used as an incense by the high priest of Israel. As a gift to Jesus, it was symbolic that he was also a high priest. And that last gift of myrrh, well, that's an embalming oil. This gift was symbolic of Christ's mortality as a man. Okay, one last one for this week out of Hosea 11:1 through 2, and it reads, "When Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son." Now that was 700 years before Christ. Now in Matthew 2:13 through 15, it records the fulfillment. When they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. "Get up," he said, "and take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is coming to search for the child and to kill him." So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night, and left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod. And Jesus had spent an entire season in Egypt. And that, people, marks the end of part one. We got two more parts of what's the deal with Jesus and prophecy. So we'll see y'all next week. Yeah?